There's a very thin line between being a fan and being obsessed with a player, and more often than not, when that line is crossed, it's catastrophic. Women basketball and Indiana Fever's rising star Caitlin Clark got a first-hand experience of that mania. One of Clark's fans turned stalker. The 55-year-old offender has also been charged for harassing Clark via messages that contained elements of sexual violence. And while the stalker has already been arrested, the basketball star is on high alert and is scared for her safety. What happened and how has this affected Caitlin Clark? A report.
Caitlin Clark is slowly becoming the face of women's basketball. The Rookie of the Year is one of the most prominent sports stars in the United States, and her impact goes beyond the basketball court. A recent study revealed that consumers are more likely to trust Clark while buying sports tech than her male counterparts. But the same Clark seems to have witnessed the dark side of this very ardent fan base. One of her supporters has been stalking her and threatening her with sexually violent messages. Michael Lewis, who hails from Texas, has been charged and arrested for stalking and harassing Clark. What's shocking is that Lewis is not a teenager who developed a sudden obsession for Clark. He is a 55-year-old man who indulged in this most despicable act, sending her messages that will make your skin crawl. Reports say many other messages were sexually violent in nature. What's concerning is, Lewis does not even consider this a crime. For him, it was a joke, and he says he didn't really intend to threaten Clark.
It's an imagination, fantasy type thing, and it's a joke, and it's nothing to do with threatening.
The messages continued even after the Indianapolis police warned the stalker last week. And when it didn't stop, Lewis was arrested and charged for the offences. He is scheduled to appear in court and could face up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. But will that help Clark overcome the mental trauma? Because following the episode, the 22-year-old star is on high alert. She even had to move about under disguise during public appearances. This horrifying episode has made an otherwise open and outspoken Clark reserved and cautious in public. It's very different for, say, cricket in India. Cricketers here are worshipped. They are superstars and are difficult to interact with. Public appearances are limited and done with utmost security. There are no private interactions possible. But in basketball or any of the American sports, it is easier to interact with the stars. They are often seen in public places. But this incident has rocked the ship, particularly for women athletes. If Lewis is given the prison term for his act, it will set an example for the rest. Once again, it will be Caitlin Clark standing up for these issues, like she has in the past when she stood up for colored athletes in basketball, spoke about the ugly fan culture, and addressed the issue of racism in sport. While Clark addressed those other issues at her own will, this time she has been the victim, and that's tough to look past. Clark always stood up for pressing issues all her life, but now she is one of the victims who was terrorized, threatened, and is now concerned. Will the judicial system speak up for the athlete by punishing the accused?